Hello guys! This video is gonna be a little special today. This video is in collab with one of my subscribers, Stefan, and you'll find his YouTube channel in the description box below. And first I'll give my top mistakes I see new powerlifters make, and then he'll give you some inputs and opinions what he thinks. So yeah, let's dive into this topic. First out, I'm gonna say that if you're thinking about competing, just do it. It's much more fun and you have a real goal in mind in your training. You don't have to win your national championship in your first competition either. Not everyone starts out that way. I believe that as soon as you have your technique checked by somebody more experienced, it's basically fine to start competing, in my opinion. It's much more fun to train for competition, and you meet all kinds of nice people at the meets. So, and my second mistake for new powerlifters regarding to competing, and that is they're opening up too heavy, especially in the new first competition. Usually powerlifters open up in the 90% range of their 1 rep max, and if you're a beginner, I really recommend you to open up a little bit lighter, usually a weight that you can do on any day for 3 reps. It's a good starting point. Because when you're competing, the last thing you want to do is open up with a weight that you think you can do and it's too heavy. Then you fail on some other stuff, like your depth is not deep enough, or you rack before you get the rack command and you get red lighter for some stupid stuff, and then you use up all your strength, then you can't do it another time. So that's a real important thing. Another mistake regarding competing is that new powerlifters usually try to hit numbers in competition that they want to hit, rather than going 9 for 9 and taking the numbers with them that they have in them on the day. Because the end goal in the competition is building the biggest total you can, and that usually is built by going 9 for 9 and not failing in the lifts. So that also comes with experience, of course, that you'll know on the day what you have in you. And also your training leading up to the meet should also quite obviously dictate how much you can hit at the meet. Of course, some meet preps will have wild fluctuations in those strength levels, but usually you have a quite good idea when you have finished your prep on what you can hit on meet day. Or at least a good prep should make you know that. And another mistake for new powerlifters is that they're overly specific to their training. They're only doing the big 3 squat, bench, deadlift all the time, no variations, and that will most likely lead to stagnation quite fast. It's really good in the beginning to learn the techniques and build up that base, but especially as a new lifter, you need to build that really wide and big base of muscle mass and strength all around. And you should especially try to work on your weak areas, and just for general health, basically, so don't get overuse injuries and all kinds of aches and pains from only doing the same thing over and over. So it's also a good thing to give your body a little bit of break from the competition movements day in and day out. So, and even as many new lifters hear that they have to train on what they want to become good at, that's true to a point. There's diminishing returns if you're only doing the same thing for long periods of time. It will stagnate. So This next mistake goes a bit hand in hand with the previous one, and that's always trying to go heavy or as heavy as you can, or always pushing your RPEs to the roof. That will most likely lead to injury really soon, so stop that, don't do that. Your body needs some breaks in between to recover, to get stronger. So almost every lifter has these periods of time close to the competition where they're going more heavier and heavier, and then in the off season maybe some lighter weights. And some people like to throw in some heavy singles year round. That's totally fine, but don't make your training program only consisting of heavy weights year round. You'll start to notice some injuries coming up if you do that, but yeah. And my next mistake is also regarding competing, and that is don't cut weight into your first meet, because then you don't have any experience on how it feels to be in a meet and how it goes. You might be new to some, maybe all things. So at your first meet there's usually quite much that you don't know, and you learn as you go. So you don't really want to also have that weight cut impacting your strength levels on the day. So I really recommend, if it's a first meet, then usually you compete in a smaller local meet anyway, so it doesn't really matter as much how you place in those meets. So just compete in your everyday weights. That will make stuff more easy. This last mistake applies to basically everyone in the gym. If you want to see progress, you need to keep track of your training logs to know how much you did last week, last month, last year, to know if you have been progressing or not. I think that's also really important to look back at stuff that you have seen that does work or doesn't work, so you can plan your future programming according to those things. That's also really important, that many new lifters neglect. They don't keep track of what they're lifting. So those were my top mistakes that I see new powerlifters make. And let's continue on with Stefan from Volume Daddy to see what he has to say.
Hello everyone. I want to thank Yanni for having me on his channel. My name is Stefan. You can find me on Volume Daddy YouTube channel. But I want to thank you, Yanni, for giving me the chance to contribute to the topic that he started, which is helping beginners. Something that's really close to me, since I started on my own 5 years ago, studying by myself, experimenting on myself, because I just couldn't find any reliable coaches for strength training in my area. And I used the internet, which 5 years ago was a great source of information, and now became way better. What I want to do is just keep this video really short, because it's gonna be my form of acknowledgement regarding the current conflict that's happening. All I can say that my country, Romania, has actual borders with Ukraine, and local authorities and even more citizens are really doing a lot to gather donations and contributions and trying to help as much as possible, which is really emotional to see. Well, with that being said, let's get to the two most common mistakes that I see in the gym, and those mistakes being made by beginners that maybe didn't get a chance to check Yanni or my YouTube channel. The first thing we're gonna talk about, it's really important, and I never see beginners in the gym ever doing, which is warming up with the empty bar, even up to 3 or 4 sets. Okay, so I said 3 to 4 sets. That might sound like a lot, and sometimes it can be. Sometimes you can be done with them in like 2 minutes. But what I can say is that besides the fact that it's gonna take longer, it's gonna take you longer to work out, there's only benefits to be doing this, because many times when I do this, like you can get some looks, like maybe people try to use the equipment or they just wondering why is this guy spending so much time on the empty bar. But that's just saying that people don't know the benefits of doing this. So every single time you go into the gym and try to squat or deadlift, that's most common, you might have some nicks and pains that you feel like you push more with one leg, or you feel like your right hip is doing more work, or you feel like any type of pain. I stay with the empty bar until all my little nicks and pains just they disappear. So sometimes it can take up to 5 sets, right? But I'm telling you, you can do this, and you can spend as much time as it takes you to get rid of those pains and gain the mobility, but using the empty bar and not going up until you feel like you're ready, it's gonna have a lot of benefits. Okay, so the second thing that I want to talk about is the fact that, as we already know, I hope, between 18 to 20 sets, 16 also is considered good. Between 18 to 20 sets is like the optimum sweet spot for development of muscle mass and strength training. For strength training can be less, but let's just go with 20. What's happening here is the fact that there is a mistake in the fact that many people will consider the warm-up sets a weight that adds up to the 20 sets per week. And I'm not talking about the empty bar, because almost nobody takes the empty bar more than one set, and they don't count it as a warm-up set. But most people count everything above the empty bar as a set, right? So what I'm personally considering as a work set is everything about 60% of your 1 rep max. If you are an intense extreme guy, you can put 65% of your 1 rep max, but I consider a working set everything about 60%. Bench, let's say 100 kilograms, and you warm up with 60 kilograms, that's still a warm up. If you do 62 kilograms, then you can count it as work. So everything above 60% of your 1 rep max should be counted as a workload, as one of those 20 sets per muscle group per week, right? And count only what's above 60% of your 1 rep max, nothing below. And also don't forget to take the empty bar even for 3 sets. Don't be ashamed to do it. It's only gonna benefit you in the long run. Again, my name is Stefan. You can find me on my YouTube channel called Volume Daddy, and thank you, Yanni, for having me.
Up here, we're free, bound only by frozen memories. Lord,